Hello, welcome to Division 4, and I guess it's becoming a little bit, I guess it will be the tradition for the season where we kick off the weekend here, because I don't think we're going to be adding anything else before this one. But glad to be back in the booth again. I got Feral Fury with me as usual, and glad to be presenting to you the Canadian Grand Prix, of course, home track for the league, so kind of our home Grand Prix weekend there, and we got the break next week, so nice track to kick it off into the break. Farrell, you're there, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can indeed.
Yeah, so listen, it's a fast track here. It's the long straights. There's not a whole lot of slow sections, is there? And what are we going to be looking at this Grand Prix? What do we need to keep our eyes on?
Mistakes. of all tracks, Canada's one that absolutely punishes mistakes. Safety car here is pretty much guaranteed at some stage in the race. The walls are so close, the speed is so high, there's just no room for error on this track at all. And so it's going to be interesting to see for the race who can keep it clean, who can keep up good pace, but mainly it's going to be who makes the fewest mistakes in this race. And they're going to be the ones who are going to come out on top.
Yeah, and interesting, you did mention the safety car there, and you are right. I think not only just in the real life Grand Prix, but in our races, we've had a tendency to get a lot of safety cars. And as you say, it can play such a pivotal role in the race, and it really kind of throw everything on its head that it's going to be quite interesting to see how these drivers handle that. I know a couple of people tend to bank on safety cars when they plan their pit strategy, and so some races you'll start on a soft tire on a track with that soft tire is really bad at. Because you know that there's a tendency to be a very early safety car on those circuits, and I think this is one of those circuits. The soft tires are pretty good around here, but it's one of those circuits where you kind of plan your whole race around there being an early safety car, and if you don't get one, that can really kind of throw a wrench the other way around, where everybody races clean and you end up kind of stranded because you're on the wrong tires at the wrong time. So. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that this weekend, obviously. If they get through the first couple laps, and the field spreads out a little bit, I think that the risk of safety car is going to go down quite dramatically. But until that happens, anything can happen, basically. Starting the qualifying session, a couple of times in the 109s, a couple in the 110s. How far do you think that's going to drop?
I think I'd be expecting to see a few of the frontrunners who haven't come out yet. I'd be expecting to see them go into the mid to high 1/8s. Like we have the likes of Kurt Valletta, who's won the first two races. He hasn't set a lap yet. He's currently invalidated the one that he was on. So it'll be interesting to see when he actually puts a lap together what sort of time it is that he can do. It's a very short lap. So I'd expect that we have a small spread between all of the times that we have as well. So it'll be interesting because any mistake in any of your laps, and it punishes it severely. And then there's just no room for error.
And you're right. And with chicanes like that too, is if you mess up on the entry, odds are, and we're on board with Victor here in that corner that Sebastian Vettel famously went a little bit too deep on, and because he messed up his entry. And so there's a lot of chicanes here, and so you mess up the entry, you ride the curb a little bit, and it's easy to invalidate, get a time penalty, anything like that on the exit of the corner. And these guys are going to have to be on top shape this weekend if they want to keep the penalties to a minimum, and even just right now, keep their quali lap attempts to a minimum, save some tires for the race.
Yeah, Kurt Valletta goes purple in the middle sector there now. It doesn't look to be a fantastic lap that he's doing, but it just seems to be solid. He might be picking up a little bit of a toe from the McLaren that's in front of him as well, so that might just be helping his time here at the minute as he's on the back straight. Can he get the last chicane right?
Apologies for the viewers there. I had trouble finding Kurt. He's normally much higher up on the order than he was there, but now he is. Yeah, now he's at the top of the order, right where we expect him. I was looking for him in the mid-pack and going, where's Kurt? I can't find him. Yeah, because he was P17 before. He's P1 now with a very fast lap in the low 109s, and there's those 108s we were thinking about, and actually for Lubo and VMark as well, they brought that time down by quite a bit. So Kurt, yet another run of form for him here. That's if he can get pole at this Grand Prix, that's gonna be 3 in a row for him here in Div 4. It's also gonna be 3 wins in a row if he can pull out a win. And of course, last week in China, we saw him have to do that late pit stop, and then he stormed back and managed to steal the win with just a couple laps left. And can anybody beat Kurt at this point? Like, I know we don't have a whole lot of sample size, but so far he's proven quite unbeatable.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. VMark, of course, started at the very back in the race in China, having missed qualifying, and he came all the way up, and he was in P2, and then spun on the last lap, and then dropped down then as a result of that. But he seemed to have very good pace, so it'll be interesting to see with him in a proper grid position if he can actually battle with Kurt throughout the entire race. And even if you look at the times, like Sprunky's up there, he's only 300s behind Kurt at the minute. So maybe this is a track that Sprunky has a bit of pace on, and he can challenge Kurt for the win.
And we have a couple of drivers, of course, with qualifying bans, which is why you're not going to see Bakker, you're not going to see Rosa Lindeberg out on track right now. And there's also Luis, who we are just waiting for. He has not joined the session yet. But I guess if he misses qualifying, then I guess that serves as the ban, right? So couple of guys won't qualify, so that's going to give some of those drivers towards the back of the grid some easy positions, but they're going to be under fire right away at the start of this Grand Prix, because Bakker, we've seen him fight with Mushroom for most of last race, and he's a very capable driver. He's going to be working his way up the field sooner rather than later, I think. So same with Rosa Lindeberg, who we did see having some capable battles until pretty sure they had an unfortunate spin or something like that set them to the rear. As we're watching Chris Neruzuro crossing the line right now, he does get it in the 109s and 109.9, so a little bit about a second off his teammate almost, 9/10, but he is in the top 10, quite comfortably in the top 10. And with Mushroom out of the... did you see what happened to Mushroom, or is he just happy with that lap?
I haven't seen Mushroom. I can't imagine he's overly happy with that lap. Like, he's in P5 at the minute, and the track's just going to get faster and faster with so many cars running in it, so he must have made a mistake somewhere, but I didn't see it.
I saw some yellow flags when we were on board with Luciano, but in the Ferrari, but I did not see what they were for, and I guess one of those must have been Mushroom. Speaking of Luciano, I think he's on his in lap there. Maverick as well. I think he's just letting some cars by. I think Chill Mo is recharging. VMark is about to cross the line. I think he's run out of VRS right before it, so not going to improve. But I think that lap time was disqualified anyways on the last corner. Chris is going to dive in the pits. Cosmo, I think, is just starting their lap. So let's ride on board with them. And I don't know if you want to take us through kind of a lap around here in Canada, but we're up to with Cosmo here.
Yeah, so we'll go on board. So he's just coming to the end of the first sector. So we go through this chicane here. Very easy to lose the back end, but it's important to get the power down as early as possible, because like most of the corners in Canada, it leads onto a long straight. DRS-Y swinging open as he comes into this bumpy braking zone under the bridge. Tries to make sure that he doesn't lose it on the curves, keeps it nice and planted there. That was nicely done. Bit of traffic up ahead of him as he comes down into the hairpin, where Robert Kubica had a massive crash in 2007. Of course, in Lewis Hamilton's first
bit of impediment there from the Williams, who didn't know where to go.
That's kind of messed up Cosmo's lap as he comes barreling down this straight as he comes into the final chicane with the infamous Wall of Champions. Very hard chicane to try and make sure that you thread the needle through it. Just seems to have traffic everywhere, so he does all over his lap. Yeah, but it does improve with a 110.1.
He does improve a little bit, unfortunately for Cosmo. So Captain Blade there, that was definite impeding on the hairpin. He let the McLaren of VMark by, and then realized a little too late that Cosmo was going by, and I don't know why. I think he decided to take the corner anyways, but on the inside, and that completely messed Cosmo up. They got lucky with a tow from VMark. The problem is VMark was starting their lap, and so just kept going. And I think that tow ended up kind of negating how badly they got impeded by the Williams, but still, I think there's a lot more time in that lap for Cosmo that we haven't seen just yet.
Yeah, I'd say Cosmo will get down into the 109s easily enough as soon as he's not getting impeded. Be interesting to see how VMark does here, because, as I said, he did have a lot of pace last week in China, and he's up there with a 109.3 at the minute, so can he improve on that time? Can he get closer to Kurt Valletta?
Yeah, gets a slight tow there down the straight, but on the last chicane cuts that inside corner just a little bit too much, and that's going to be another invalidation for VMark. And one person that I did see so far this season, they've been much higher up on the grid. Actually, Ephraim Dabone just goes fastest there. You're talking about track improvement. There it is right there as the AlphaTauri goes P1. But I was going to talk about Poison Wild, who finished 5th, I believe, last week. He finished definitely in our top 10 the week before that. Good qualifier so far in Season 4 for Division 4. Currently P11, and I think he's about to go he's about to dive into the pits as he's invalidated that one, but he's a driver who I think we're going to be looking at for some massive improvements here in the last little bit of the qualifying session.
Yeah, absolutely. He's qualified up in the top 5 in every race so far. So it's weird to see him down in P11. Another one who's struggling at the minute is Mushroom, who I think he decided to retire in the pit from reading the comments on the stream. So a bizarre decision to do so early in qualifying when he's dropping all the way down to P7 now.
And yeah,
but still faster drivers to improve.
From talking to him before the race, just in our Discord server, I know that his best lap in time trial was around the mid 109s, and I think maybe he thought, all right, well, like I've hit my time trial target, like I'm not going to improve much more than that, not realizing that this track was gonna change so much through the session. And I definitely think Mushroom could have at least brought it down to the very low 109s instead of the mid 109s. So a little bit of an interesting decision there for him to retire. I see in the comments that he goes, I have time in my laps, but I can't be blank. Not worth it for 4 places. It's more than 4 places now, is it? It's going to be more than 4 places by the time the session's over. So if you don't want to do another lap, Mushroom, that's on you. But personally, I would just wait it out in the pits instead of retiring.
Ephraim was 0.4 up on his pole lap, and he spun leaving the hairpin.
Oh, and that's going to be damage, and definitely the end of the session there for Ephraim. As he's going to have to dive into the pits, and absolutely no chance to change that. His teammate is going to dive in as well, so I think he's quite happy with his P4. VMark's on an outlap. He's going to have to hurry up if he wants to get around the circuit in time, but I do think he's got enough time there. Lucianok is about to finish his lap. That's an interesting camera angle. I've never seen that one before, but he crosses the line and goes P10. And gets himself up in the top 10, but for how long will it last? Chris Narazuro coming to the final chicane now. That's a good line there. Really hugs that wall on the exit. And where is he going to cross? He does improve, goes P7, and then forgets where the track is. No, I think he's just trying to get out of the way of whoever's starting their lap right behind him, and that would be Chilmo, who is going through turns 1 and 2 right now. And Chilmo trying to start his final lap of qualifying. That's not Cosmo, that's Rusty Oilacan who's coming around to the start. Rusty Oilacan with a 145. He's not going to improve that lap as he's invalidated this one already. And what's going on there in the racing point?
I have no idea. I'm watching Kurt, and he's not improving on his lap either.
And Kurt's out of ERS actually, or he's not. He's just flicked it on. I just saw that light switch off, so I think Kurt might have bailed out of his lap. Now he's going for it again.
So he did this last week. He was down in China as well, and then he just put in a lap right at the end to put him up to P1. So can he repeat it again this week?
Yeah, absolutely. We're
He's
gonna
invalidated straight away.
that
Oh, and
answers
he
it as
crashes.
the DNFs as well, and I do hope he doesn't impede anybody. It looks like he's just off the racing line there, so I think it should be okay. But an unfortunate DNF there from Kurt towards the end of the qualifying session. And yeah, like you said, not going to improve his time. And now Sprunky did get himself up into P3, and kind of to my surprise, because I did not see him set that lap. So Sprunky with a good starting position here. VMark.
V-Mark is on a good lap.
Yeah, Vimar coming around the final uh, chicane there, cross the line, goes
He goes
fastest.
P1.
And so Vmark, P1 there, right at the end of this session. And with Kurt Valletta out, with Ephraim Dabone done for the session, who can beat Vmark? Can anybody beat Vmark? Lucianok is on the back straight right now. He is on a lap. Those tires are 2 laps old. That's his second attempt. And yeah, he is going to dive into the pits. Sprunky coming around the final corner there, and the session's over, so I think he's just trying to finish his session. Is Barja, yeah, he's going to go 9th fastest, so definitely improving because he didn't have a time before. And there you go, 9th fastest for the Renault. And that is going to be the end of our qualifying session now, unless Chilmo can do something about it. But no, Chilmo is going to be going into the pits. And that is going to be the qualifying session here in Div 4. You've seen it, and everybody has finished their laps. VMark is still on track, but he's don't think he needs any improving there. VMark with a 108.810 gets pole position ahead of Ephraim Dabone, who is just 0.043 behind him. So very, very tight at the front here on the front row. Kurt Valletta and Sprunky starting on the second row of the grid in P3 and P4. The second AlphaTauri of Lubo starting on the third row with Victor in the Williams. Chris Narazuro in P7 in the Mercedes. Mushroom, who he said he was quite happy. He didn't feel like fighting for the extra 4 positions. It's turned into 7 extra positions, and we're gonna see if he can make those up in the race. Barja ahead, right behind them there on the 4th row or 5th row of the grid. 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 5th row of the grid. I lost count there on where I was. And just ahead there in 9th place. And I'll read you the rest of the order in just a second here as we load into the results screen. Cosmo
Malta taken over.
Yeah. Yeah, Malta is absolutely taken over. We joke that the Dutch are taking over our Sunday leagues, but we got to watch out for the Maltese. They're trying to infiltrate another way. So, yeah, top 3, all Maltese right now. I was going to say Cosmo in the Racing Point in P10, Lucianok in P11, Chilmo P12, Poison Wild P13, Always Rick P14, Maverick P15, Captain Blade P16, and then Rosalindeberg Bacher 17th and 18th, but they had a qualifying ban, and Rusty Oilcan, they're not able to set a competitive lap time, and then I think he got disqualified for being parked somewhere on the track. So starting at the back. And did Luis manage to get into the session?
I think he joined the session, but I don't know if he did a lap. I saw it come up that he joined. And he's on here on the screen now, so
all
yeah,
right,
he's
so
loaded
he
in.
should be good. And one thing I am noticing, and I'm sure you've noticed it too, is once again in Division 4 we're getting rain. And it's starting with rain, just like in China last week. I don't think it's going to be like China last week, where they were able to start on the slicks, though, because I'm seeing big puddles on the main straight from my point of view right now.
Yeah, this looks like a full wet race. There's no way that anyone's going to be starting on the slicks.
And yeah, it's living in Canada myself. We don't get a whole lot of rain all the time. But when it does rain, sometimes it pours, and I'm not going to try to compare ourselves to Singapore or Malaysia and the downpours they get there, but it's definitely not a desert up here, and I think it's showing it's showing us that today, and as we're going to start in just a few seconds now, And here we go. So yeah, it's our predicted pit stop strategy, full wets, as we head out onto the formation lap. And sure enough, it looks like everybody is on the full wets. And just gonna ride on board with VMark. And look how soaked that track is. There's puddles everywhere. There's so much standing water. And even on the formation lap, they have to tiptoe out of the corners. And yeah, it's
it's treacherous conditions. I don't know if you remember our T1 race last year, but it was in conditions like this, and it was an absolute nightmare to drive in.
Yeah,
so easy to lose the car, so close to the walls. I went through about 4 wings that day. It was a nightmare, so it was.
Yeah, it's all I'm gonna say is that the wall I hit definitely remembers our Division 1 race last year. I wish I could forget. So I'm getting some more comments here, being that Mushroom wanted free tires for the race, and something tells me he didn't look at the forecast, because yeah,
Mushy's got all the free tires he wants now.
He gets all the free tires he wants now, because you want wet tires, you can have your wet tires. And it's interesting to see if we get variable conditions here, just like we have had 2 races in a row now. Of course, Austria in our first round, it started off dry, it finished in the wet, and we saw Mushroom almost pull off that brilliant strategy there, where he tried to outlast the rain on his slick tires. Then last week it started wet and went dry, and everybody there tried the strategy of starting on the slicks, because it was going to stop raining so soon, and it worked for pretty much everybody except like the 1 or 2 that ended up crashing because of it. And so here again, are we going to see strategy play a role in the outcome of this race, or are we going to see pure driver skill in the rain? Is it going to stay rainy this whole time? We're going to find out. We have 35 laps to go here. The last car is lining up on the grid. And what happened to Ephraim? Because he's starting
Ephraim and Chris, I think, joined during qualifying. And I think they've got put to the back with a glitch.
I do think that might be the glitch, because indeed, yeah, they qualified very well, but that's not going to matter very soon. I know we saw the lights, but that's not the real ones. They're getting ready. I hear the engines. And in Canada, they are off, and it's a tentative start from basically everybody. You come to expect that in these conditions. That Kurt Valletta, though, gets the best one of them all, as he already jumps VMark into turn 1. And now that's Lubo down the inside of the McLaren, and VMark from pole position is already down into P3, and he's under fire from Mushroom and the Alfa Romeo, who also had a great start there. And maybe that strategy did work out for Mushroom. He didn't need those extra 4 positions. He's already made them up. There's some chaos in the back there. We saw the Renault Varcha having a big moment coming out of turn 3. But into turn 5 and 6 here, it's going to be Kurt, Lubo, VMark, Mushroom leading Sprunky. And somebody's calling me, so I do apologize for that noise. I don't want to talk to somebody from Turkey right now. We have a race. Sprunky following Mushroom very closely, and there's a little bit of movement in the back, but it's at the front that it seems the tightest right now. But no, actually something's happened back here. I think that's Chilmo has had a spin. Here's Captain Blade down the inside of Lucianoc. He makes that move long before the corner. Lucianoc does not want to fight that one into a hairpin. And who's having a peek down the inside is Chilmo, having a little cheeky peek in the middle of the hairpin, seeing that Lucianoc just went just far enough wide that he could stick that front wing in there. And he's not able to make that move, but he is going to have another go here down the straight. And there's so much spray that the
Sprunky hits the wall.
Cameras can't see it. The Sprunky hit the wall, and that's going to be damage for Sprunky, is it? And looking from the rear of Mushroom, it doesn't look like there's any damage on that front wing. I think Sprunky might have gotten away with it. And Bonker's race goes from bad to worse. He has to pit early, and he gets a speeding penalty for it, too. That's a 5-second added to his race time, or before if he pits again. The yellow flag in Sector 1, that's Rusty Oil Can who's had a spin. And yeah, he's got damage for sure on the racing point as he gets sorted back out, or at least attempts to. And absolutely chaotic start here. as I wasn't quite sure where to watch, but we've gotten away. Kurt Valletta leads, Lubo leads VMark, and VMark really the loser on that start. Did you see what happened to the McLaren? Was it just wheel spin? Did he not get the grip he needed?
Yeah, he just seemed to shudder as he was leaving off the line, and just seemed to get a lot of wheel spin. And Kurt Valletta just absolutely took off and went clean into turn 1, and he was already a few car lengths ahead by the time he already got in. Lubo was actually alongside VMark by the time he went in, and now Lubo's up to P2. So it'll be interesting to see. He had good pace in the rain in Austria, so it'll be interesting to see if he can keep up with Kurt here now in the rain in Canada.
And you mentioned Lubo being side by side with VMark into turn 1, and yeah, making the move into turn 2, and he hasn't looked back since. And VMark hasn't. I know there's only one small-ish racing line right now. That's more or less dried out. It's very hard to make moves on a wet track, especially a wet track like this one. But VMark has not been able to close up, whereas Lubo is closing up on Kurt. And I think VMark maybe is just going to have to bide his time and be patient here until the track dries up more. As he gets a big moment there, that McLaren looked like it was going to spin around. He does a good job saving it. And that was a scene out of Tokyo Drift, but he's lost a lot of time. And now it's going to be Mushroom who's going to try to tuck in on the inside, but Mushroom gets the worst exit out of the corner compared to VMark and not able to catch up there. That looked like a great opportunity for Mushroom to get himself up into the podium positions. There's been another spin, and I think that's Rosa Lindeberg there in the back, as Barcia is still running quite well. And virtual safety car has come out. And so everyone's going to slow down here. It's going to neutralize the grid, and they got to be careful. It's quite easy to pick up a drive-through penalty here under VSC. But I think that was Rose Lindeberg in the Renault having a spin down at turn 4. Yeah, I believe that was turn 4. So, is anybody going to pit? Nobody's going to pit, so that I think that's an indication that these guys know this rain is not going to stop anytime soon, because a VSC like that, if I think it's going to dry out shortly, I'm going to make that jump to inters, and we might be stuck here with rain for a little bit.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing to see is before the VSC, Lubo was really reeling in Kurt. Kurt had a little bit of a moment at the exit of turn 6. And Lubo seemed to be really closing in then, and VMark gets a drive-through.
Yeah, so VMark gets a drive-through on the restart there. So does Bacher, I think, unless that's just his penalty from before. Let's look if anybody else got one. And no, it is just VMark. So a bad start gets worse there for the McLaren, as he's going to be forced to drive through the pits there. And I don't know how he managed to pick up a drive-through there, because he's actually a little bit further back from Lubo than he was at the start of the VSC, but yeah, this game is not the most consistent. We saw Lubo there actually almost having a go on Kurt Valletta on the restart, and I think Kurt Valletta maybe not warming up his tires as much because he's struggled and he's fallen back into this pack. And now Mushroom and Sprunky are both right close to him, and Lubo, is he able to make another move go? But he's too far back on this straight, so I think that might have been his one chance there. Gone. He was having that tentative look, and and VMark. We have
another one.
We have another VSC, and I think VMark's going to dive into the pits, but we saw him. He went for the chicane and changed his mind right after. But unfortunately for VMark, you can't serve drive-throughs in under VSCs, so he's going to pit for a fresh set of inters, and he's going to have to go through the pit again. And who caused this one? Was it Rosalind Lindeberg again?
No, I think this was Rusty Oilcan who's after DNFing now. So I think they're after causing this. And
Rusty Oilcan with and I try not to be too rude to the drivers here in the commentary booth, but I don't think we can call his qualifying effort anything close to good, as he set a 1:45 as his first lap, and then invalidated every attempt after that. And now his race already done here on lap 5, so probably not the Grand Prix Rusty Oilcan wanted.
Yeah, I can't imagine it going much worse for Rusty. Like we saw him spinning around, breaking front wings and everything like that. So yeah, I'd say the sooner that we get to leave Canada, the happier Rusty will be.
He gets to leave right now if he wants to. He doesn't have to spectate the rest of the race, but we are back under green here, and already another spin, and it's Victor this time. I think we're getting a lot of victims of these tires cooling off under the VSC, and just maybe getting a little too eager to get back into race pace coming out of it, because that's Chris Neruzuro, I think, had a moment as well further down the grid. Captain Blade has made a move on Poison to take P5 here in the hairpin. And is Poison going to have a go at him? There's a big battle brewing here for P5. And Poison is side by side with Captain Blade. They're coming in three wide into the chicane in the rain in Canada. And one of them's going to dive into the pits. Everyone's going to have to check up. But in the end, it's Poison Wild who gets ahead. And there's a safety car now, and what's happened here? Has anybody crashed? There has been a crash, and I think it's Ephraim. No, he was going slow. It's not, doesn't look like Ephraim anymore. I don't know what has happened there.
Is it possibly because of the conditions?
It could be a weather-related safety car, because this rain has not cleared up at all. And it's still raining just as hard as it did before. But we are getting a safety car here, and I don't see anybody who's had an accident. We saw, and that was a great time move into the pits by Captain Blade in hindsight, because he was going three wide. He was in the middle, and he checked out of that battle and just drove straight into the pits. And as he crossed that line, the safety car came out. You don't really get a much better safety call, pit stop call than that.
That was actually him serving his drive-through, so he was incredibly lucky with that. Yeah.
So did he get his drive-through out of the way then?
Yeah. So he doesn't have the drive-through penalty anymore, as opposed to poor VMark, who still has to serve the drive-through.
VMark was in the same braking zone. I think he was at the same place essentially when the VSC and the safety car got triggered. But I think because it was Captain Blade. I think he was because he was able to enter just with his front wing into the pits right before he got triggered. That they let him serve it, and yeah, incredibly lucky there for Captain Blade, and he manages to serve his drive-through and at the same time not lose a whole lot of positions. Plus, he's going to gain them back under safety car when the field bunches up again. So yeah, super lucky. I think that's the least we can say there.
Mushroom up on the podium. He'll be very happy with that so far.
Mushroom is up on the podium thanks to VMark's drive-through, who I believe he still hasn't been able to serve, because it's been VSC and then a VSC and then a safety car before he was able to do a whole lap of the Grand Prix. And if I'm VMark, I'm furious right now, because not being able to serve your drive-through right before the safety car comes out is killer, because now you're going to get bunched up with the pack. You can't serve your drive-through, and when the safety car comes back in, then you're going to have to serve it, and the pack is going to be a whole drive-through ahead of you.
And like the worst thing for VMark as well is that he's already attempted to serve it, but VSC came out and screwed it for him already. And so he's getting triple screwed by all of this. Absolutely
painful for VMark, and yeah, if there was a lottery for bad luck, I think VMark would have won it today. As he gets an unlucky start there with wheel spin in the wet, gets an unlucky drive through, and then after that, it's just been unable to serve it despite attempts at doing so. And if I'm VMark, I just want this race to be over a little bit sooner. And looking, I've been on board for Kurt Valletta for a lap, because I just want to see what it's like from a driver's perspective. And I don't think there's any doubt that this race is under safety car because of the weather. Because it's gone to the point where they ride over the curb and you can see the ripples of the water in the curbs, and you can barely see anything just from the spray of the safety car. And so you can imagine what that looks like when you're behind a Formula 1 car that kicks up way more spray because of the downforce and the diffuser. And you'll look at Lubo. This is at short, low speeds. They're behind safety car, and you can barely see the car ahead.
It's just so difficult to drive. Like we're going through that section in the trees with Lubo there, and you can barely see anything in front of you. Never mind having to try and control the car, try to keep it on the track, try to keep it out of these very, very narrow walls then as well. It's so difficult for the drivers. And like we're even seeing that drivers are struggling to keep up with the safety car. Like look how spread out the field is still at the minute.
Yeah.
Like we're still waiting for a lot of drivers to catch up with the pack.
A few of these guys have had pit stops, but they should be able to catch up to a safety car, at least in a lap or two, because, I mean, it's a short track here. It's a high-speed track. Most of it goes straight, and these cars have a way higher top speed than the safety car. So hopefully these guys can close it up here and not lose too much time. But as we go through the hairpin here, we still have 2 drivers in the pits right now, and almost a full lap behind the safety car. So Mushroom gets on the grass there as he's trying to attempting to warm up his tires. Luckily, he kept it out of the wall.
It's interesting that you mentioned Mushroom as well, because he's actually talking in the chat and he's saying that he can see precisely nothing. And being on board with him now at the minute, I fully agree.
Hey, Mushroom, listen, I'm not saying that I don't appreciate your comments, and I love the support on the stream, but I really hope you didn't type that when we saw you going on the grass there. Because you shouldn't be texting and driving. So, assuming you put the AI on for that, good. But if you're sitting there at your wheel with the phone in one hand, trying to warm up your tires with the other, I'm going to have to politely ask you to stop. We've had enough crashes already, and this race is only like 4 green flag laps old. I think we've had the rest under some sort of VSC or safety car here. And it doesn't look like it's improving at all.
No, like even through that tree section there's still just no visibility for any of the drivers.
Like I'm on board with Kurt Valletta, and as mentioned, that safety car kicks up a lot less spray than any of the Formula 1 cars, and look at how much water is on his screen. Look at how hard it is for him to see right now. It's absolutely crazy to me that these guys are going to have to race here soon in these conditions, but well, that is if the safety car does come in.
It's in this lap.
It is in this lap. The lights are off, and they're going to have to go back racing in these conditions. And I normally like to ride on board with the leader here on the restarts, but I want to ride on board with somebody who's a little bit further in the pack, because I want to see how much spray gets kicked up here as these guys get racing again on a very wet track. And they're gonna have to watch out, because I think Poison expected the field to back up a lot more than that and accelerate, but it looks like they've avoided any Constantiner effect like we saw in Magello. And yeah, getting back racing, and already look at that, you can barely see Sprunky, but it looks like it has gotten significantly better here, so should be okay. I think the last lap there really cleared it up. Kurt Valletta gets us back under green, leading the race yet again. And oh my god, is that Chris? Yeah, so we've had, yeah, and we have another accident there as he was racing to try to catch up to this queue here. And I really hope it doesn't trigger another safety car VSC as he gets going with nobody near him. Yeah, so Kurt Valletta leading Lubo, leading Mushroom, leading Sprunky, who both had some good starts to this race, but I don't think any better than Mushrooms. He's already up 3 places. Actually, Poison Wild has had a better start than Mushroom. He's up 6 places in P5. Oh, Sprunky.
Yeah, we looked out for Poison.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt there. But Sprunky was going Tokyo Drift around that corner and almost smashed into the wall.
We looked out for Poison as a man to watch in the race, because he qualified a lot further down than we'd ever expect from him. And he's proven us right so far, as he's up to P5. It's just after picking up a 3-second time penalty though, which will hurt him later on in the race, but he's been doing well so far. The field is... Lubo and Mushroom are keeping up with Kurt here. Keeping him honest, keeping him on his toes throughout this entire race, so he can't have any time to relax. Can't have an opportunity to just let his guard down.
And you're right.
Lindeberg, I think, has a spin.
Yeah, they have been keeping up with him quite nicely, and to be honest, this whole top 5 here, top 6 even, is very close to the leader there. They've done a great job staying close to the lead pack there on the restart, and it should lead to an interesting race if they can stay there. And yeah, you mentioned Rosa Lindeberg having another spin, not the race they wanted here in the rain, and Was that Barcia having a big moment there? It looked like he was almost going to hit the wall, but it might have just been a trick of the camera, as it looks like he got out of that one okay. But is this rain is falling? I'm seeing a lot less spray now. Are we going to start seeing guys dive for the inters, or is that way too early to talk about?
I don't know. From reading comments on the chat, Josh too wanted them to pit for inters under the safety car, which would have been a very, very brave call. he was calling for VMark to go and pit for inters, and he said that was his chance back into the race.
I have to agree with him there. If I'm VMark and my race has already gone this badly, I might as well make that bold strategy call and see if I can get back in the race, because VMark started the restart in 10th. He's down in 17th now after serving his drive-through. But luckily for him, he served his drive-through. He's still at the back of the pack though. He's right behind P16, and Kurt is going to be doing that switch to the inters. And I think this just proves Josh right. If you're going to pit for inters, 1 lap after the safety car comes in, 2 laps after the safety car comes in, then you probably could have gone on the inters under safety car, and you would have lost. You would have basically gotten almost a free pit stop. And so Kurt Valletta pits there. If anybody would have pit for inters under the safety car, they would have been off to such a good position right now. Not the case though. I don't blame them either. It was quite wet there, but still. Now we're going to see the switch over. Kurt's already back on right behind Captain Blade. You can see the pace difference between the inters and the wets. Maybe just the pace difference between Kurt Valletta and Captain Blade here, because he's all over the back of that Williams.
Yeah, they came very close together when Kurt came out of the pits. Captain Blade just seemed to have a bit of a moment, and it nearly caught Kurt out. And that could have wrecked his entire race as he goes up the inside into the hairpin. Can he get it done?
Gets it done quite easily, I think. And right behind them, that was Victor on Lucianok, or sorry, Lubo on Lucianok that we saw just behind. Who goes deep there? Somebody went super deep at the hairpin. Oh, Lucianok has had a moment. I was trying to look at who that was that went super deep at the hairpin. It was Luis, but it's Lucianok who hits the wall there. And did you see what happened? We had him on camera, but I was off looking at the minimap. Did he get loose on his own, or was there contact?
It was hard to tell from the camera angle I was looking at. You could see the two of them were side by side. I don't know if Lubo and Lucianok made contact, or if he just lost it by himself.
If anybody in our stream chat got a better view there, I know it was on stream. You guys can probably click back and look at the replay. Yeah, I was off looking at the minimap there, so I did not quite see what happened. The small sliver of good news there for Luciano is that he had to pit this lap anyways to get onto the inters. So it's just a long pit stop for him rather than an unnecessary one. Sprunky, though, has not pit.
One man who's made a big jump from this and has gone completely unnoticed, for me anyway, is the Maverick. So he seemed to pit a lap earlier than everyone. All of a sudden he's jumped up to P8 with cars in front of him that still have to pit.
Quite a good jump, you're right, and you said he's gone kind of under the radar. He's gone under my radar as well, as I did not notice that he had made such a big jump there. We were watching Lubo make a move on Victor there, and I think we just see how much quicker the inters are compared to the wets, because do you remember what position Sprunky was in before this round, before everybody switched to the inters? He wasn't.
Sprunky was P4, and he was only like 3 seconds. He was only 3 seconds behind Kurt, and he was only 3 seconds ahead of Kurt when he pit there now.
Exactly. So Kurt has, in the span of 2 laps, Kurt has closed up 20 seconds, a whole pit stop between him and Sprunky. So yeah, like I said, I try not to be rude to these drivers. I try to sugarcoat everything. That's a bad call from Sprunky to stay on the wets for so long. That's an even worse call from Barcia, who is still on the wets. And still has not changed over, and I don't know if it's because it might start raining harder again soon, but there's such a pace difference right now between the wets and the inters. Oh, actually, as who was that? That was Sprunky almost getting squeezed into the wall. They actually did get squeezed by Barcia as he tried to to slide his nose down the inside. Did a great job saving it. Oh no, as Barcia gets a big moment coming out of that corner and slides right into Sprunky, and Sprunky gets wing damage out of that. And interesting to see if it's going to affect him a lot, or he's going to be able to keep riding, but that's wing damage that Sprunky did not want at this stage of the race. Poison Wild going for a move as well on Barcha, who got away with no wing damage. Somehow, Sprunky took the only damage of that collision.
There's just not enough water on the track at the moment for Barcha, and it just means that the tyres are just overheating, and you're just going to spin them up every single time. That's just what happened there, and then it's caused damage to Sprunky.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I mean, you can't penalize him there for being on wet tires on what was a previously completely suitable track for wets. It's still raining, but still, it's a bad decision that's just cost another driver quite a bit of lap time there. So something to be mindful of is now Poison. Actually, we saw him right ahead there, now having a go at Sprunky, and our top 5 there that was so close before this round of pit stops onto inters, they all pit kind of staggered, and none of them they didn't pit all at once, and so they've come out here on wildly different lap times, and it's spread out the top 5, and it's now here in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. That's where all the cars are very close now. I think that's where we're going to see quite a bit of a battle in the coming laps.
It's been a very methodical race for Chilmo and Cosmo. 2 of them are after moving up to 4th and 5th then as well. So just kept their noses clean, made the right strategy calls, and then that's moved them way up on the grid.
Both of them were in the lower half there of the top 10, if not out of the top 10 when that safety car hit. I've noticed Poison has picked up some wing damage as well, and I don't know if he had that before, if he picked that up in a battle with Sprunky, but that might affect him as well. But yeah, like you said, Chilmo and Cosmo, both, they pit at the right time. They kept their noses clean, and now they're rewarded with, at least for now, a P4 and a P5 as Sprunky dives into the pits there. I think that wing damage might have been a little bit too much.
I think Poison and Sprunky collided, and I think it gave wing damage to both of them. So that's V-Mark goes on the inside of Backer.
Now this is an absolute bold call. Sprunky's on the hard tires.
Oh wow.
And this is one of those calls that's bold enough that we question whether or not it's a mistake. Because yeah, on the hard tires, this is a very wet track still.
And we questioned Sprunky in Austria, and he proved us both wrong.
That's true.
So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for the next lap or so.
He's absolutely proved us wrong there, and you'd think I would have learned my lesson questioning him, because yeah, he did absolutely, like it looked like it was the complete wrong decision to do, and it turned out to be the perfect decision to do in Austria. And yeah, you know what, I take my comments back. We're gonna wait and see for Sprunky. And I think in a way to just make me eat my words right away, I'm looking at that gap, and he's actually gaining on Maverick already. He started losing there, but he was gaining a 10th quite rapidly on Maverick. So, yeah, we'll wait and see for Sprunky. If he dives back into the pits, I'm going to say I told you so. But yeah, it's interesting. Very, very interesting.
The hards of all tires, though, was a strange call, because they're the hardest to heat up. With all the rain, it's going to be even harder to heat them up. Surely if you're going for slicks, you go for the softs, or you go for the mediums, because the mediums would do the rest of the race from here, so he wouldn't have to stop again. I know he proved this wrong before, but I still think it's a wrong decision.
Yeah. He isn't going to stop again. That's a Renault who we've seen facing the wrong way quite a few times this race there. We saw it in the corner. It's Roselindeberg again, not having a good time in this Grand Prix. Yeah, 30 seconds back of 18th, who themselves are 30 seconds back of 17th. And around this track, that's over a lap. So lap down there for Roselindeberg. And lap down for Chris as well. Actually, I've just noticed he's been passed by his teammate as he dives into the pits again.
Backer has had a qualifying ban, a drive-through. I think another drive-through maybe as well. Numerous different penalties, and he's up in 7th.
He's made the most of a tough situation. I will give him that. And we were riding on board with him, so it's good that you mentioned him. He's been fending off VMark quite successfully, and VMark is no slouch around here. We qualified on pole position. And he's been holding him off behind him for a few laps now already. So Bakker's doing a great job so far. And did Chris Rizzuro just completely spin coming out of the pits? He has. He's come out of the pits and he's had such a spin that it took him across the main straight and into the wall to the right of the track. And I don't know how you manage that, but he has done it. And that's going to be yet another pit stop for the Mercedes.
Sprunky's still persevering with the Harts. It's cost him about 15 seconds so far.
At this point,
so he's already lost a pit stop.
Yeah, but at this point, I think if you pit again, then you've caught yourself basically 2 pit stops. If you carry on, then you run the risk. Then you run the risk of getting really lucky and staying ahead. And Mushroom's got past Lubo here. Lubo's having another go at him down into turn 1 and turn 2. But Mushroom, great job on defense there of blocking the line without having to compromise his own. And Mushroom P2 right now.
I think Mushroom jumped Lubo during the pit stops, and it's actually that Lubo is catching up on him now. Mushroom was keeping Kurt honest for a while, but it just seems to be falling away now in the last few laps and falling back into Lubo.
Has gone onto the hards as well, so another driver, and we have, I don't know if you've noticed, the sky's cleared up quite a bit here. That's another driver who I think thinks the hards are going to be good, but
Lubo on the inside.
Lubo thinks a move is going to be good here, and he goes down the inside of Mushroom in the hairpin, gives them plenty of room on the exit there, but still takes a better line, and they're still side by side here down the straight. Mushroom and Lubo, they stay through the entire hairpin, through the exit, wheel to wheel, and now down the straight into the final chicane, turn 13 and 14. It's going to be Mushroom just eking out ahead there. I think maybe using a little bit more of that ERS, braking later. He gets a 3-second penalty for his troubles, but he does maintain the position. That was a good battle there, and it's not over yet, I think.
I think Lubo ran out of ERS on the straight. I was just having a look at it, and he seems to run out around halfway down the straight. His DRS is enabled.
And yeah, I saw that notification pop up, and that's the sign that we've gotten to the crossover point, or have gotten very close to it. Another sign is that we no longer have a dry line. I know it's still raining a little bit.
Oh, Mushroom.
But, Mushroom's getting very, very out of shape there in that corner. Luckily for him, Lubo was taking it a little bit easier, and he didn't gain a lot of time, and not going to be able to have a go there. But like we were saying, there's no dry line anymore. The whole circuit looks more or less dry. It's still greasy, it's still wet, but there's no clear dry line. And that's how you know it might be good for slicks. And is one of these two going to pit for the undercut there? They've been locked in a battle for what seems like 2 to 3 laps now. Mushroom, again, fending off a move in the hairpin. And if you're Lubo, do you pit? Do you try to go for the undercut right now?
I see Kurt going into the pits ahead of them, so I'd be shocked if the two of them don't go in there now.
Not able to cover it up because both of them dive into the pits here, and both of them, I think, going to go for the medium tires with 15 laps in the races just outside of that window for the softs to last until the end. But surprisingly, there's a lot of people who aren't pitting, Chilmo included, and we saw him nail that pit strategy in the first wave of pit stops onto the inters. Now he's going to get promoted up into P2 here, but I think the inters are severely slower than the mediums at this point. So can Chilmo nail the strategy call again? We're not going to know which one the right call was until a few laps from now. But right away, he's already losing a lot of time to Lubo, who's on the fresh, still kind of cold medium tires, and VMark gets the pit stop. So Chilmo there had the priority on the pit stop, opts not to do it. I think that might have been a mistake, as he's going to get absolutely mugged by Lubo and Mushroom. Lubo, who by the way did jump Mushroom in the pit stops. That's one way to get past your opponent. Sorry?
Yeah, I didn't see that Lubo had gotten ahead of Chilmo, but Chilmo's definitely struggling on these tires now.
Oh yeah.
You see him squirming all over the place as they overheat, and it's a shame because as you said, he nailed everything so far this race, and that's just the first mistake that he seems to have done wrong here.
I think if he pits now, it's still going to take him right behind Cosmo, and so he was kind of out of reach for this leading pack here. But if he pits now, I think he still has a chance to come out battling Cosmo, who he was battling here before the first round of pit stops. But Chilmo, the last man to switch off the intermediate tires, and he does so right as it stops raining. And so we've switched to basically a dry race here. There's no more rain in the sky. There's no more rain on the track. Of course, it's not perfectly rubbered in yet, but it has changed dramatically. And Chilmo's going to be coming out of the pits right ahead of his teammate here. Oh, no, he's going to be coming out maybe a little bit closer than he wanted as he goes deep and gets onto the grass. But I thought he was heading right to the scene of the accident there, right to the wall. No, he manages to save it, and now he hunts off to chase Cosmo and fend off V-Mark at the same time. There's a tough task ahead for Chilmo.
Yeah, and it's curse of the comments in the stream. Stunik saying that Mushroom could take another penalty, and then Mo would be on for a podium, and then all of a sudden, then this happens.
Yeah,
so
and I think
bit of a curse there from Stunik.
Yeah, Mushroom Stunik needs to learn to stop cursing, because he's a commentator. He should know anything he says, the opposite will happen. So I think he needs to check himself and stop cursing people. But there's been a bit of a roadblock, and that roadblock is named the Maverick, and he's been able to keep Bakker behind him. Maybe not for long there, as he locks up. And actually, I think that might have just been a little bit of the spray there on the racetrack that's still getting kicked up. But yeah, it looked like him and Bakker both went a little bit deep. Bakker's going to go for the move now, but he held Bakker behind him for a significant amount of time. Bakker was behind Chilmo for a little bit there in the inters, and Bakker's all the way, he was in 7th. Now he's all the way down to P11 because he got held up behind the Alfa Romeo there. So has Barcia, so has Lucianok, and Maverick, I don't know if he was just doing an excellent job at defending or if the track was just not quite ready for these aggressive overtaking moves. But he's gained himself quite a few positions there just by holding everybody up.
Yeah, he was also one of the quickest to go over onto the inters as Sprunky retires from this session. And that helped him move up right from the back all the way up into the middle of the pack. And he just seems to be getting caught out on pace now as the track dries.
And if you're wondering what happened to Sprunky there, I did see a Ferrari have a spin, and I think that was Sprunky there in turn 4-5, I believe, is on the exit of turn 5. So, yeah, not the race Sprunky wanted by any means. After what seemed like an absolutely amazing start. But one thing I've noticed is that Sprunky retired on the inters, and so I think he decided to cancel out that plan of going on the hard tires, pit for the inters, and right when he did that, it dried up, and he was kind of left stranded.
Yeah, just no luck for Sprunky there at all. Like,
absolutely not.
In fairness, were we wrong again? Sprunky picked the slicks to go on way earlier than we ever would have imagined, and he was only probably 2 laps too early. If he had waited 2 more laps, then he would have looked like a genius again.
Absolutely, but unfortunately not the case there for Sprunky, and that's I think that's a race result he didn't want today. But there is still another 13 races to go this season. After this one, there's a lot of time to catch up from 1 or 2 bad races. So not anything that I think we should worry about, or that Sprunky should worry about here for the week, because I mean, he had a good race there right up until that unfortunate switch to the hards, and he's shown his pace. He's shown his pace in the previous races as well. I think it's just bad luck here today, not for lack of trying to fix it or trying to have a good race.
Yeah, it's been a case of just different luck for so many different drivers. Like, we're looking at Cosmo now. Hasn't been up near the front at all this season, and then all of a sudden, here he is up in P4. Still solid 3 seconds ahead of Chilmo, still holding on to that. And Yeah, he's kind of maintaining the gap between himself and Chilmo at the minute.
Yeah, and Chilmo is, I mean, speaking of Chilmo, he's maintaining that gap to his teammate as well. They're both Cosmo and Chilmo running very good races here. And that gap to VMark, it was going to be a little bit bigger, but we remember he had that moment coming out of the pit lane. It was about 1.8 seconds when he finally got going and the gap's updated properly. It's 1.6 seconds now, and his teammate has effectively been backed up into Ephraim, and that's going to cost him more time. And so Chilmo there is... we thought he might have gotten off the inters too late. He's still recovered to a very nice 5th position. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like he's going to be at least able to hold on to it for a few more laps here.
Yeah, and just looking at the penalty situation as well. Mushroom has racked up 9 seconds of penalties already. So Cosmo is only 8 seconds off a podium at the minute. Or if Mushroom manages to get any more penalties, then that puts that even further in doubt. So it's been a clean race from Cosmo so far. He's been doing very well, and he could be rewarded with a podium here.
And yeah, I mean it's looking good for a lot of people there. VMark gets passed by Ephraim. That was a little bit weird. It kind of looked like he was letting his teammate by, because he tried to tuck back in there in the braking zone to not lose time. But no, Ephraim just planned that move perfectly. I think he kind of caught Mark by surprise. And gets ahead into P6, and now Chilmo is going to have a lot of work to do, because Ephraim, I think, is going to be not as nice as VMark. He's going to be pushing a little bit harder onto Chilmo, I think. But while we're on the topic, VMark, P7 there after that drive-through, that left him P17. So that's a very good recovery there for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, he's done very well. Ephraim is another one who's had a very eventful race. Like he was one of those who qualified up near the top, and then he got glitched back onto the back of the grid. I think he had another incident as well in the race, and he's still here. He is up in P6, and his pace is excellent. He's been setting fastest lap after fastest lap for the last few laps, as he's just hunting down all of these different drivers.
And working his way up the grid there. Do you think? I mean, we have 8 laps left. Is there any chance that Ephraim might catch up to his teammate there? There's a big gap between Cosmo and Mushroom.
I don't think he'll catch Lubo. Lubo's pace is too strong at the minute. Like Lubo seems to be closing in on Kurt at the minute. He is.
He is. That gap was 6.8 seconds, not a few laps ago.
So I don't think Ephraim will get there, but he might catch Mushroom on penalties.
I mean, he's caught up to Chilmo there down the back straight, and getting past his second McLaren in 3 laps. So some good moves there from Ephraim de Bone there, up into the top 5, and actually getting past Chilmo as well is VMark. And I don't know if there's a little bit of help there or some teamwork there from the McLaren boys, switching positions to get a better chance at catching back up to Ephraim. But VMark up into P6 and Chilmo down to P7 there. Chilmo started lap 27 there in P5, so he's going to have some work to put in if he wants to get those positions back, and that's not going to help as he smacks off the wall there. We see that end plate trickling further back down the track. That's some wing damage for Chilmo.
We see Kurt get his first penalty of the season. So he's obviously feeling the pressure from Lubo reeling in his gap here now at the minute.
Yeah, and only one driver right now with no penalties, and that's Victor. And Poison not having a good time today, I'll tell you that. 18 seconds in penalties. Bart Cha, 20 seconds
Mushroom
in penalties. Is Mushroom pitting?
Yeah.
And why is Mushroom pitting? Were those tires not working for him? Or does he think he has that gap with the Cosmo behind him to come out behind the racing point? No, he's not. He's going to come out behind quite a few people. He's changed his front wing, has he?
Yeah, he seemed to drop off the back of Lubo very quickly there, so I wonder if he had a lot of front wing damage. And that's killed his race now. He's dropped all the way down to P8.
And yeah, with 9 seconds in penalties too, he's not going to gain any. Maybe on Poison, he gets a 5-second one there for crossing the white line. Speaking of penalties, immediately brings the total up and then spoils a Vettel there. Mushroom, you're on stream, buddy, and I'm not turning off if you're doing that. So watch out. And
That's
that
just
is a
stupid.
big penalty. Because, Mushroom, we saw you try to take yourself out 3 times, buddy. So, good job. I know you're mad, man, but you got to finish your races. So moving on from that, to hopefully some better driving here. Lubo has been catching up to Kurt.
And Ephraim is all over the back of Cosmo now as well. He's inside DRS range as they go onto the main straight. Probably too far back now, but maybe he'll get him on the next lap.
And just to make sure there, I zoned out for just a second. Are we watching Ephraim, or do you want to watch Poison Wild? Because there's 2 battles here brewing up. And Ephraim's catching up to Cosmo. Lost a lot of time on that corner. But Poison is catching up to Chilmo. And that battle's not going to lead to much. I think Chilmo's gonna get that position back on penalties. But I'll take anything. I'll give anything for some good on-track action.
Cosmo and Ephraim, like with Mushroom out now, this is for a podium.
Yeah, and just like that, a podium has kind of dropped into their laps, has it?
Ephraim has 3 seconds less of penalties, so he has that going for him. But any mistakes, and then all of a sudden that lets Cosmo back in. The 2 of them seem to be struggling for traction there out of that corner, or I don't know if that was just a bit of lag. But Ephraim has dropped way back down on the straight now. Poison is all over the back of Mo.
Yeah, and
Will he get
Ephraim not going to be able to make a move there. Poison is going to be able to move side by side with Mo, and into the final chicane, dives in there, dives into the pit actually, is Chill Mo. I think that wing damage was a little bit too much, and that's somebody else there who's had an otherwise great race, just completely sidetracked by the walls and by this very tight circuit. And I don't know if a lot of people know this. I know it's mentioned at the start of every F1 broadcast, but this track is on a man-made island, right? And I've been there a few times. There's not a whole lot of distance. You can see it there from these overhead shots. Some of these places only have about 10 meters between the track and the water. This section of the track right here only has about 3 or 4 meters between the track and the water. That's why there's walls everywhere. That's why there's not a whole lot of runoff area. It's because on the inside is a gigantic lake with a casino. On the outside is the St. Lawrence River, and the whole track is just kind of snaked around this casino complex and there's also to the left, right now we're coming up to it, of this main straight, is an Olympic-sized rowing pool from when the 76 Olympics were here. You can see the flags there in the water. And so this track is absolutely surrounded by water. And so that's why there's so many walls around here. It's such a narrow circuit. It is considered a street circuit. This is an open, permanent public street in Montreal year-round. And so these guys just not able to keep the car away from the walls, and it's sidetracked their races.
That was a nice little advert for Canada there, so it was. Ephraim seems to have fallen off the back of Cosmo, just been on board with him, and he just seems to be making a few mistakes out on traction and just keeps losing it. And it's allowed VMark to close up to the back of him. Yeah,
the thing for Ephraim is that so long as VMark doesn't get past him, he gets the podium. Cosmo is as a penalty extra. Cosmo is 6 seconds, VMark has 3, Ephraim has 3. And so Cosmo basically just needs to hold these guys long enough that they make a mistake and they also get 6 seconds. And Ephraim and VMark both just need to figure out which one of them finishes ahead, and they'll get the spot on Cosmo. And I think right now it's going to be Ephraim who says, you know what, I'm not going to risk having VMark take the position from me. No, I thought he was going to go for the move there. We saw him slide out of the slipstream, but he chooses against it, slides back in there for the chicane, and again, not able to make a move. Cosmo just has so much top-line speed. And it seems like with Ephraim struggling to come out of corners, that top-line speed is just killer, because by the end of the straight, Cosmo's in the distance. Ephraim has just started catching up. And so he's going to have to get much better exits here if he wants to be able to catch up to Cosmo. And we see him close up there, under braking, taking a very much better line, actually, through the corner. But once again, on the exit, who pulls ahead? It's Cosmo, but only slightly this time, as not able to make a move. This is a short straight. There's DRS down there, but it is quite a short
Cosmo gets
straight.
another 3 seconds.
And Cosmo gets another 3 seconds, and Ephraim doesn't have to risk anything there. I know he probably wants to get ahead. Oh, as Cosmo goes deep, that's going to open the door there for Ephraim. Ephraim again gets a poor exit. Spins the wheels there, too eager on the throttle, and Cosmo gets back ahead. But I think this time, I think he's going to be able to make the move there as he pulls alongside, and side by side into the chicane. Out brakes Cosmo. Cosmo doesn't give up. And Mark takes a penalty here, and now Ephraim is basically guaranteed the podium. So long as he finishes near them, Ephraim has netted himself a podium. V-Mark takes another penalty. He's up to 6 seconds now, as Cosmo takes a third one, up to 9 seconds. And Ephraim, that was a move that netted him the podium there. V-Mark going to get past Cosmo as well, and Cosmo is going to lose these positions due to penalties anyways, but it's always nice to just hold on to them on track, and in your head you still feel like you finished ahead of them. Not going to be the case for Cosmo. Drops down into P5, but can you be mad if you're Cosmo? That's an excellent result there after a hard start to the season.
Yeah, no, it's been a great race for Cosmo so far. He's been down in the bottom half of the table all year round, but this track just seems to suit him. He has great top line speed, and he just seems to get great exits out of the corners. You might fancy a move down on V-Mark now as well if he can get him in the DRS zone, just because, as we've seen, he has great top line speed. So he might have a chance here.
It's going to be tough because V-Mark also has DRS. And what's happened behind there? I don't know if that was lag. It looked like Cosmo had a big moment down the straight. But V-Mark with DRS actually has started to catch up to Ephraim. And if Ephraim takes another penalty there, then V-Mark, so long as he's ahead of him on track, will get the position. And sorry, who left?
Cosmo has left the session.
Oh, so Cosmo, that might have been the moment that we saw there. It was just the disconnection and the AI taking over. And Ephraim does take a penalty. And so now if V-Mark can get past Ephraim on the final lap here, he is going to get that podium. We're going to tune in very soon here because Kurt Valletta is actually down the back. Look at the lead he has. They're fighting in Sector 2. Kurt Valletta is coming around the final corner here, and he's going to win his third race in a row. Kurt Valletta sweeps the start of the ISRL Season 4 Division 4 Championship. And sorry for the phone call there. Lubo finishes P2 there. That's a good podium for Lubo. And now down the back, straight, his teammate Ephraim is going to try to fend off V-Mark. I think he's going to be able to do it there. V-Mark nowhere close enough. Don't take a penalty here, though. If you take a penalty, it's all over. And they don't. They both navigate it clearly. And Ephraim is actually, look at how close V-Mark got on the exit. But Ephraim is going to cross the line. P3, and that's a double podium for AlphaTauri. Kurt Valletta takes the win. And V-Mark P4. Cosmo is going to cross P5. I think that result is going to stand despite the disconnection, because I think that was more due to internet troubles. I don't think they would have rage quit out of 5th place. Victor, he
rejoined the session, but he's lost the position.
Yeah, not gonna keep the position because Victor had no penalties at all. And Victor takes P5. Chilmo takes P7. That's a good result for Chilmo. I'm sure he's going to be quite happy with that one. Captain Blade P8, and Poison ends up pulling into P9, which, considering the amount of penalties he had, P10, which is still pretty respectable. You're still getting a solid chunk of points there. 10th points for 10th place here in ISRL. So, driver of the day is Ephraim, and I have to agree that qualifying glitch setting him to the back of the field. They still recover and get that podium late in the race. What a drive from Ephraim. What a drive from Kurt Valletta. And what a drive from Lubo. And I don't think we can find a fault in any of our podium holders race today.
No, absolutely not. And we still have the Maltese taking over.
Yeah,
a 1-3 for Malta with a Bulgarian in between.
I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we get these exact flags last week?
We did. The only substitution was we had V-Mark instead of Ephraim.
We had, and then V-Mark, of course, is P4, so it wouldn't have mattered much. The Maltese takeover continues here in ISRL Division 4. That was a great race. We are not back next week because we have a break week. We're going to be back the week after that, so don't go too far. It's though we have, of course, races Friday and Sunday as usual. But yeah, it's Kurt, Lubo, Ephraim, your podium, VMark 4th, Victor 5th, Cosmo 6th, Chilmo 7th, Captain Blade 8th, Luciano ends up taking 9th, Poison Wild 10th, Bartja 11th, Always Rick 2 takes 12th, Bacher 13th, Maverick 14th, Luis takes 15th, Rose Lindeberg, after a very tough 6-stop race, takes 16th. Mushroom, Sprunky, Chris Zero, and Rusty Oil Can are your DNFs. And, yeah, not the race Mushroom would have wanted, not the race a few of these guys would have wanted. I think VMark came in here aiming for the win there. That drive-through completely derailed him. But to recover to a 4th place from that is very impressive. And we'll just have to get the podium drivers here in the room, and if we can't get one of those drivers in, I say we send Mark an invite as well, because I want to hear what that race was like for him. And but yeah, hopefully we can get these guys in soon. And there's that casino I was talking about. You can see it in the loading screen, and you can see the Olympic Basin as well. So, just some more Canada advertisement. That sphere is a biosphere. It used to be the U.S.'s 1967 Expo pavilion, and when it finished, they sold it to Canada for like $10. And now it's a biodome. It's nice and cozy inside. There's a lot of plants and butterflies and stuff like that. So
it's a good thing that the distraction of the race is over. Now we can get back to this Visit Canada advert.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's quite obvious where I'm from. But yeah, just while we're waiting for these podium holders to come in, figured I'd give a little plug to my country there, to the league's country, in fact, because we are being run out of Canada. And yeah, come visit, guys, please. We need tourism. So now that we have our podium holders in the party, I'm just going to see who joined there. So sorry for the screencast. So we have Ephraim and Luba. So we have the 2 AlphaTauris in here. I guess we'll start with Ephraim. I mean, just we know you had that you qualified very well, P4. You had that qualifying glitch, was set you to the back of the grid. You managed to recover to a podium. What was that race like for you?
I think that's a roller coaster. I don't have anywhere. I'm speechless. I've qualified on P2. And then I don't know what happened. There was a glitch. It put me in the 19th. And, you know, track position in Canada sometimes is very important because you will end up in the traffic. So I guess I was a little bit lucky as well, because as soon as the track was getting clear, I was like almost getting near the pits. So then I went through the pits and all changed the tires all the time, exactly immediately when there was a new strategy. So I think I was a little bit lucky for that. But then I had a very good pace on the dries. I think I was doing fastest lap after fastest lap with the medium tires. Yeah. So yeah, I managed to overtake Mark. Of course, he had another penalty, so I was a little bit worried about Cosmo. But Cosmo then, I overtook him cleanly, and then, of course, I took a podium. I think it was a well-deserved podium.
I have to agree with you there. Well-deserved is I think the best way to put it there. I fought back after that glitch. Just kept persevering, got the late passes when they mattered, and got yourself back up onto the podium. It was you say luck, but getting onto the right strategy at the right time does take a bit of skill. So I think you gotta pat yourself on the back for that one, and bringing good points for AlphaTauri as well with that double podium. It's been a strong start to the season for AlphaTauri, both in Division 4 and in the combined constructors that we're doing. And how are you gonna carry on this momentum, both for your team in Division 4, both for AlphaTauri in the combined constructors? What is the outlook for the rest of the season for you?
To be honest, with Lubo, I have very good communication, and we're also discussing strategy, and this is what I think the best part out of it, because you have a teammate and you are working together as a team. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to drive together with Lubo, because he's a very good driver. We are almost in the same pace. I believe that the future races, it's going to be very well results for us too.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to beat somebody else who's in this party to help improve those results a little bit. Not that they need much improving. That's a double podium for AlphaTauri. Third place for you. Before we go off to the next podium holder, Farrell, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I have nothing else there. I think Efron pretty much covered everything.
Right on. So, let's roller coaster race there from Ephraim, and good podium in the end. Congratulations on the podium to you, and yeah, great race.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Knight. Thank you for referring, and of course, well done for the organization. ISRL Division 4.
Thank you very much. Moving on, Luis or Lubo, sorry, Lubo, can you hear me? Yeah, second place there. For a bit there, I thought you were going to be catching up to Kurt Valletta, but still a solid haul of points. Can you take us through that race? And I mean, I would be too there. That was a great race for you, and another wet weather race. At this point, do you start practicing the wet weather? It seems like you guys are going to get some every week. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, luckily, there's a break week next week, so you'll have an extra week there to practice just in case. But yeah, with 3 wet races to start the season, I don't think we're gonna get too many more. Hopefully, it's kind of a roll of the dice. But yeah. So listen, second place. I asked kind of the same question to your teammate there. Uh, 2-3 for AlphaTauri. You guys, from what he said, you guys work great together. What are you gonna be doing to kind of help the team, both in your Division 4 championship and in the combined constructors? Absolutely. And you looked like you were going to catch up to Kurt there towards the end. I thought you were going to catch up to Kurt towards the end. What can you do different so that at next race or at some point in the season, it's your car on that top step? It's you in the top step of the podium. Yeah, well, listen, I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. I'll hopefully be commentating some of it again. And good race, great result there. I mean, nothing but positives to say. And congratulations. And Kurt, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. So listen, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna do anything. That's 3 in a row. How can we stop you?
Yeah, to be honest, first of all, congratulations to the podium. The guy behind me was I think faster than me. I had some issues with fuel. He was catching me. I mean, it was a very stressful race. Before this race, I had another 2 races in another league, so
Yeah.
I'm very tired.
Didn't look like that on track, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was very stressful. It was mixed with a lot of scenarios from wet to intermediates, from intermediates to softs. I didn't know where was the gap exactly to switch on to other tires, but thank God it's succeeded.
I think you've nailed the switchover point because you basically didn't drop back from first place there for much of the race. You weren't there a little bit as you were one of the first ones to pit, and then you got it right back after.
Exactly.
You had that great start, and you were able to get past VMark before turn 1. And what happened there at the start? How did you get off the line so quickly?
To be honest, I have to mention 2 things. One, I don't know what happened to Efrom. He qualified second, and he went to. I think he was very unfortunate to have this kind of glitch. But yeah, I think one of my best things in this game is the starts. I nail every start. So, and the other thing is when we switched over, if I'm not mistaken, to intermediates. Lubo got stuck in traffic, so
He did a little bit, yeah.
That's why I had so much of a gap.
Well, you did a great job there. I mean, you have almost full points to start the season. The only thing you're missing is some fastest lap points. That's a great start to your championship, and at this point, I think all you got to do is kind of play it safe, and I think you have a big lead. But are you going to be doing that, or are you going to be pushing and trying to extend that gap, even though it's early in the season?
No, I always go onto track to win. So.
All right, so we're not going to see any safe 4th place drives from you. It's going to be win or nothing.
It depends. It depends on the track. It depends on the race, how it comes. But I'm going in for every track to win. So that's my main aim.
Well, listen, I wish you luck into getting on that top step of the podium again. I hope we don't see you too often. But for the sake of the other drivers, not for mine, because it seems like every race you win has been a very exciting one. And yeah, congratulations on the podium. I don't know if Farrell wanted to add anything.
No. Yeah, again, I think you pretty much covered everything.
Again, all right. So listen, Kurt, that's 3 in a row for you. That's the probably the perfect start to the season. You have a long championship ahead. I wish you the best of luck in every race between now and the end. Enjoy the break week next week, and we'll see you on track in 2.
I wish good luck to all the drivers. I'm sure that they are better than me. So I mean, hope not, but
well, so far this
season there will be more battles.
So far this season, you have been the best one on track, but I think we saw a lot of problems here from the 2 AlphaTauris today, and I really hope we see some battles in the coming races. But we'll see all of you guys again February 20. Well, not the 21st, but the week of the 21st in France. So 2 weeks from now, and for the French GP. So guys, congratulations on the podiums. Great race from all of you, and yeah, good job, guys. Thank you. Yeah, that pretty much wraps up our broadcast here. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to the few people who are still watching the interviews and all of the comments left. If you haven't liked the stream yet, don't forget to do so. And same with checking out all of our social media. We're going to be back on Friday with Formula Fridays here around Canada, and that's a 25% multiplayer car, no teams, kind of a free-for-all, followed by a five-lap reverse grid. So don't forget to tune into that. And then, of course, as usual, we have our weekend Grand Prix all weekend. So take care, guys. Thank you to everybody who watched. I'm ISRL Knight, presenting you the Canadian Grand Prix with Feral Fury here. And, yeah, see you next time.